Students of class 7, today let's learn the first part of chapter 11 from social science history. Well, in the previous class we have discussed about some of the important dynasties of the Delhi Sultans, in which Qutbuddin Aibak, he was the founder of this very dynasty, slave dynasty, and Ibrahim Lodi, who was the last dynasty of the Delhi Sultans, and he was ultimately defeated by Babur in the Battle of Panipat in 1526. That was what we have learned in the previous class. Well, today let's go to the Mughals. Okay, it's chapter 11, the Mughals, the rise of empire, so to say. Okay, before we go into the details of this very lesson, first of all, let us see together some of the important words that will definitely appear in this very lesson. The first one is confederacy. Confederacy means a situation in which states or people join together for a particular purposes. Confederacy. Okay. The second one is Zat. Zat means a numerical value in which the rank or position of an officer was determined, especially during the time of this Mughal period. The third one is Sawar. Sawar means the actual number of horsemen that were to be maintained. Okay. And Jagirs, a type of feudal land granted for maintenance of collection of revenue, so to say. And chieftain, sorry, chieftain means leader of people or a clan. Okay, so these are some of the important words. Now the reign of this Mughal. Okay, we'll see some of the rulers. The founder or the Mughal Empire was founded by a person whose name was Babur. I think we have discussed this one in the previous class. The last Sultan, that was Ibrahim Lodi, he was defeated in the Battle of Panipat by this Babur and founded the Mughal Empire. And basically these Mughals or the Babur, he was descended from Mongols. I think we have learned something about Mongols. The sultans were Turkish, okay, Turkish slaves, so to say. Muhammad Ghori, who was a Turk from Turkey, you might have heard the country Turkey. Okay, so the race of these sultans, they were basically the Turkic race. Okay, whereas these Mughals, they are of Mongols. All right, we'll study all this in details. And the next ruler is Humayun, who was the son of this Babur. During his time, he was overthrown by this Sher Shah Suri, who was the ruler of Bihar and Bengal in 1540. Okay, so when he ascended to the throne, he returned to the throne again in 1555 to 1556. After the death of this Sher Shah Suri and after the death of Islam Shah Suri, who was the son of this Sher Shah Suri. Okay, then Akbar, his mother was a Persian, right, whose name was Hamida Banu Begum, and a very eminent scholar or a very popular scholar during the time of Akbar was Abdul Fazal. And the next ruler was Jahangir, and mother of Jahangir was a Rajput princess by the name Maryam uz Zamani. All right, then Shah Jahan. Shah Jahan was known for his architectural achievement, and you might have heard Taj Mahal, which is in Agra. It was built by this Shah Jahan. And the last important ruler of this Mughal was Aurangzeb, whose name was also known as Alamgir I. All right, so This Aurangzeb was born to Mumtaz Mahal, in which the Taj Mahal was built in memory of this Mumtaz Mahal by Shah Jahan. Alright, so that was the mother of Aurangzeb, and she was basically a Persian. And during the time of this Aurangzeb, he also he killed the 10th Guru of Sikh, whose name was Guru Gobind Singh. Okay, so these are the basic important rulers of the Mughals. And after that, there were also some of the Mughal rulers which were not very important. They were also known as later Mughals. The first one is Bahadur Shah the first. Okay, he made settlements with Marathas and made friends with the Sikhs. We also have Jahandar Shah. Okay, he ruled from 1661 to 1713. The two Mughal rulers that came up after the death of Aurangzeb. And another guy whose name was Farrukh Siyar. Okay, this was the emperor of the Mughal who granted firman to East India Company in Bengal in 1717. And we have Shah Alam II. Okay, he was defeated in the Battle of Buxar, most probably by the British. Okay, and then we have Akbar Shah from 1760 to 1837. He was just a titular king. He did not have power, he did not have authority, but he was under the protection of the British when the British were in India. Okay. And the last of all, that was Bahadur Shah Zafar, or which we call him, which he was known as Bahadur Shah II. He was the last Mughal emperor. Okay, so during 1857 there was a revolt, the first Indian revolt, so to say, revolt of 1857, you might have heard. So after that, the British exiled him to Burma, and most probably he died there. So that was the end of the Mughal rules in India. So right from Babur up to Bahadur Shah, we will see some of the important things that happens during this time. Well, we'll start with the Mughals. Basically, as I have already mentioned, they were the descendants of two famous Mongols. Okay, in the previous classes we have learned something about Genghis Khan, okay, and Timur, another person. They were Mongols. That means the Mughals were basically of Mongol races. Okay, Mongolian races, we can say. So you can see from the picture right here. This is Genghis Khan. Another guy is Timur. Okay, they have a blood of these two very famous Mongols. And Babur, he was the first ruler of the Mughal. Basically, he was born in Uzbekistan, and he ruled at Fargana in Uzbekistan itself at the age of 12 years. When he was 12 years old, he became a ruler. But the Uzbeks, okay, they turned him out of this Uzbekistan, and in 1504 he became the ruler of Afghanistan. Okay, and in 1526 he established Mughal rule after defeating Ibrahim Lodi in the Battle of Panipat, which we have already talked about. This Battle of Panipat, you can see it from the picture. This is a picture, a painting of the Battle of Panipat, the scene of the Battle of the Panipat. And here is Babur. He is the Babur. Okay, and not only that, after defeating this Ibrahim Lodi, the Sultan, he captured this Delhi and Agra. Alright, and in 1527 he also defeated Rajput Confederacy. Rajput and some other minor kings, they formed a group and they were attacked by this Babur, and most probably they were defeated. which was under Rana Sangha. He was from Mewar, and they met at Khanwa. Okay, and he conquered Gwalior, Dholpur, etc., and many other places. All right, so that was the reign of Babur. He died in 1530, most probably in Agra. Okay, so the, the successor of this Babur was Humayun. Before we take up this Humayun, let us see, if we look at this very map, the portion which has been shaded in purple, this was the growth of the Mughal Empire during the time of this Babur. He himself conquered most of the northern part of this India. All right, and the other, they were slowly, they were dominated or conquered by other Mughal rulers. So we will see together Humayun. Okay, Humayun, he was the successor of Babur, as well as he is the son of this Babur. He ruled from 1530. All right. So after the death of Babur, there were so many threats. Especially it was posed by Bahadur Shah of Gujarat and also Sher Shah Shuri of Bengal and Bihar. Isn't it? So during his time in 1532, he defeated this Sher Shah Shuri in the Battle of Chunar. The Chunar is in UP. And this Sher Shah Shuri, in fact, he promised to Mughals that they will be loyal. Okay. He promised the loyalty to Mughal, so to say. But unfortunately, they betrayed this Humayun. So Humayun was defeated, okay, in the Battle of Chausa and Bihar, most probably by this Sher Shah Shuri. And also, he was also defeated in the Battle of Kannauj that took place in Uttar Pradesh. So, because of his defeat by this Sher Shah Shuri, he fled to Persia. Okay, Persia was in Iran, and he became, most probably he became homeless. So the historian described him as a prince without a kingdom. When he fled to Persia, so there was nobody to look after the kingdom, so he was described as a prince without a kingdom. But in 1555 AD, he reoccupied Delhi. Actually, after the death of Islam Shah Suri. Islam Shah Suri was the son of this Sher Shah Shuri. After his death, he came back to India in Delhi, and once again he reoccupied the empire, the Indian Empire or the Mughal Empire. So at last he died in 1556, and his son Akbar, at that very time he was only 13 years of age, he became the ruler. Okay, so these are about Babur and how the Mughal ruler, or how the Mughal Empire was founded in India. So I think for today we will just wind up till this Humayun. In the next class we will continue with the Emperor Akbar. It's going to be very interesting. So for today, let's learn up to here, and I wish you should learn all the notes from the study materials, okay, which I have sent you in your WhatsApp group, and also subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you, and may God bless you. Thank you so much for participating in this learning.